Once, in a land where the wind forever carried the heavy scent of approaching rain, metallic and thick, like unshed tears, there lived a man whose name was spoken only in whispers. They called him Bluebeard. He was not merely wealthy, he was a collector of horizons. His estates stretched across misty valleys and jagged cliffs, as though he sought to own the very edges of the world itself. Yet no one feared him for his gold or his lands. They feared the beard that gave him his name, a deep, unnatural indigo, the color of a midnight storm frozen at its most violent moment, shimmering with a strange metallic light that seemed to pulse when the candles burned low. The villagers said the blue was a curse from an ancient enchantress he had once wronged. Others whispered it was the mark of a soul turned to ice by bargains made in darkness. 7 times he had taken a wife. 7 times those wives had vanished from the world, leaving no trace, no grave, no final word. Only silence followed them, thick and heavy as fog. Into this shadow stepped a young woman named Fatima. She was 20, fierce-hearted and unafraid of storms. Orphaned early, she had been raised by her brothers Karim and Tariq, soldiers of the king, who had taught her to hide a dagger in her sleeve, to read the stars when maps failed, and never to trust a smile that reached the eyes too easily. Her hands were rough from years of weaving tapestries in the village market, yet her mind was sharp, hungry, alive with questions that ordinary people learned to bury. When the raven-feathered messenger arrived bearing Bluebeard's invitation, her brothers' faces darkened. "He is death, dressed in velvet," Karim said. "The wind carries women's cries from that house at night," Tariq added. Fatima listened. Then she smiled, a small, dangerous smile. "What if the monster is only a riddle?" she asked. "What if I am the one meant to solve it?" She went. The wedding was held beneath chandeliers that wept frozen light. Nobles and merchants filled the grand ballroom, their painted smiles hiding calculations. They whispered behind silk fans, laying silent wagers on how long she would last. The air smelled of overripe roses and old wine, with something bitter underneath, like decay pretending to be perfume. When Bluebeard slid the cold obsidian ring onto Fatima's finger, Fatima looked straight into his eyes, black as wells that had never known sunlight, and thought, "I will find the crack in your frozen heart. I will melt it, or I will break it." For a month, the house dazzled her. Endless halls of shifting tapestries, gardens where blood-red flowers bloomed beneath eternal cloud, cellars of wine that whispered forgotten secrets when the bottles were opened. By day, Bluebeard was almost gentle, telling her stories of distant seas and cities of glass. By night, she dreamed of women drowning in indigo water, their hands reaching for her, their mouths forming her name. Then, one evening, under a moon pale as bone, Bluebeard announced he must leave for shadowed lands beyond the mountains. He led her to the highest turret, a spiral chamber lined with strange things, vials of living mist, books whose pages breathed, shelves of keys gleaming like teeth. He laid them out on a table of polished bone. Silver keys for the wine cellars, emerald keys for the gardens that twisted into dreams, ruby keys for the armory where Bled still remembered old blood. And last of all, a tiny rusted golden key, so heavy it seemed to pull at the bones in her hand. His voice became low, a growl wrapped in velvet. "Everything in this house is yours, Fatima. Wander, open, enjoy. But this golden key..." His beard twitched, blue light flickering along its strands. "This opens the door at the end of the western corridor. If it ever touches that lock, our love ends, and something far older, something that does not forgive, will begin." He left at dawn. The house grew quiet, too quiet. For 3 days, Fatima resisted. She drank wines that tasted of memories not her own. She walked gardens where the paths showed her futures, some golden, some soaked in shadow. Yet the house itself conspired against her. Tapestries turned their woven hands westward. Mirrors aged her reflection, showing her paler, bluer, more afraid. And always the wind in the rafters, women weeping in perfect, terrible harmony. "See us. Free us." On the 4th night, the silence became unbearable, a pressure inside her skull like a second heartbeat. She rose. She walked. Bare feet on cold stone, golden key burning against her palm. She did not choose the western corridor. It chose her. The hallway was lined with mirrors that lied. Each reflection showed her older, hollow-eyed, lips faintly stained blue. Whispers leaked from the glass. "He promised us forever and gave us chains." At the end stood the door, not wood, but black iron cold enough to burn. Runes glowed along its surface like dying coals. The key slid in as though it had always belonged there. It twisted itself. The door exhaled frost and opened with a sigh. Inside was a room of standing water, vertical walls of liquid that did not fall. Within each shimmering pane stood a woman. One frozen mid-scream, gown drifting as though she drowned in air. Another brushing hair that floated like black seaweed, eyes mad with grief. A third staring at a wedding ring fused to her finger, nails torn to bone from trying to tear it free. 7 brides, 7 broken promises, 7 queens trapped forever in the moment of betrayal. Fatima's candle guttered. She stumbled. The key fell into a spreading pool of indigo ink that bled from the mirrors. When she snatched it back, the ink caught fire, bright, impossible red. The key bled. The stain shaped itself into a tiny, screaming face. She ran. She tried to wash it in wine that turned to vinegar, in bleach that ate her skin. The only red deepened, the face now whispering, "He comes." Midnight brought the sound of wheels on gravel. No lanterns, only darkness rolling forward. Bluebeard entered like a storm taking shape. He did not ask how her day had been. He held out his hand. The keys. When he saw the crimson stain on the golden one, his laughter cracked the air like glass shattering under a hammer. Ah, Fatima, you were to be the jewel of my collection, the most beautiful reflection of all. He seized her wrist and dragged her toward the western corridor. His beard moved like something alive, blue light crawling along it. His touch was cold as deep ocean water. In that moment, she understood. This was no man. This was hunger wearing a man's shape. With her last strength, as they climbed the turret stairs, she lunged for the great bell rope and pulled. 3 desperate tolls, the signal her brothers had taught her long ago. The bells roared. Bluebeard snarled, raising a blade crusted with sapphires that sang with malice. "You will not." The front doors exploded inward. Kareem and Tariq stormed through with steel and fury, soldiers at their backs. The mirror room became a battlefield. Swords rang, blood sprayed across water walls. In the chaos, Bluebeard struck wildly and shattered one of the liquid mirrors. Water poured like judgment. From it rose the spirits of the 7 brides, pale and furious, mist curling from their wounds. "You collected us," they hissed together. "Now we collect you." They seized him. His screams were terrible. His body unraveled into indigo foam. His beard came apart like threads of night. Dawn saw the house of Bluebeard burn. Violet smoke rose for days, staining the sky. Fatima took what remained of the fortune, gold clean of curse, and built a sanctuary, a place of light for the silenced, where women could speak their truths without fear. She kept one thing, the golden key. It still bleeds, 1 crimson drop every midnight. She wears it against her heart, a reminder. The truth may cut deep, but a lie kills slowly, and it never stops. And so, in the land where the wind still smells of coming rain, the silence was finally broken, not by screams, but by voices that dared to speak.